What's up, guys? There might be an echo. Hold on, let me mute it really quick. There we go. Alright, how's everybody doing this morning? I got a few stuff I'm watching. We have the cannabis stocks dropping. LMFA, if you could trade these two, LMFA right here, gapping up from $1.73 to $2.14, looks good. TAHO, I can't trade either one of these, but they're both gapping up nicely. So LMFA and TAHO. There's also, let's see, what else we have. I'm also watching CRON, like I said, and CGC. They're both dropping. CGC's dropping a little bit more, I think. But then we have GOOS gapping up from 58.58 to 67.25. We have PBR gapping up on low volume. Looks like a rebound from dropping so much yesterday. Excuse me. Just looking at my scanners at this point, we have RRC, which is probably one of my favorite ones. I'm interested to see what happens at this 850 level right here. If it can crack underneath there, maybe fade off the VWAP a little bit, it looks okay. AMRN, I traded this one yesterday as well. Gapping up some after dropping a ton yesterday. We got AMRS gapping down some. Starting to possibly rebound a little bit here. It closed at 590. It's at 450s. And so a pretty big gap down so far. We'll have to look up the news on that one. And then we have CHK gapping up some from 356 to 374. And so, yeah, I mean, we have some movers. Some I can't trade. Let's see. We have LX as well. Gapping up HTZ popping up on the scanner. SWN. SWN doesn't look bad. It's an energy stock. HZN popping up. GSL. LX. QWI. QIWI. Gapping up some. That one doesn't look that bad either. REZI. COG. PETQ. Now let's look at some gap downs. BOXL. Typical with some of these big movers. IDEX. Gapping down. DGAZ. Gapping down. ETF. PCG. Gapping down. This one looks interesting. Another oil stock. LEDS gapping down, PAAS, PXS. PXS doesn't look bad. I don't think it's tradable, but it doesn't look bad here. Yeah, man, Houston's cold today, bro. It's freezing, man. Almost freezing. Freezing is like 30 degrees here. It's like 35, you know. It's cold, man. What's up, two-way? I just brought up UGAZ, or DGAZ. These are a little bit too expensive for me, cool. At least UGAZ is. I brought up DGAZ, it doesn't look bad, but I mean, it's ETFs, you know. ETFs, I'll trade them sometimes, but I don't like trading them as much. Although I probably should analyze whether these fade on a regular basis. Because if ETFs end up fading like they, you know, then I wouldn't necessarily mind it. I mean, rejection here, nice little follow through. I mean, they actually look to follow the VWAP, I mean, a decent amount. Let's see. Fade here as well. Bounce here. Fade here. So it looks like these ETFs, for the most part, like they do longer term fades, right? And so just by looking at this chart, if I was going to create a strategy around these ETFs, it would probably be something like look towards the end of the day, middle towards the end of the day, and try to take advantage of these big long-term fades. And I would have to hold it much longer than a regular fade, but I don't mind that trade idea. And really, I just kind of looked at it when I saw these charts. But, you know, you can see this long-term fade here. Another one here. And so that's something it looks like they do on a consistent basis for these ETFs. Another one here. Another one here. And so every time I see it do this when it's in a downward trend and it pushes back up to test the VWAP, except for maybe here, you know, but it's never going to work 100% of the time. Another one here. This one kind of worked, but it gave it back. But it still looks like a plausible trade idea. Another one here. And so if I was going to make a plan around these ETFs, that's what I would do. I would look for middle of the day towards the end of the day and look to get in a longer term VWAP fade with small sizing, yet a big range risk area. You know, use a little bit larger risk, a little bit larger reward when I'm using those. And it looks like a plausible trade idea. I might consider it with, we'll see, you know, but I've traded ETFs before. What's up, Don? Yeah, man, I think I looked at UPL this morning. I don't think it's tradable for me. Let me look one more time. No, it's not. But like DGAZ is tradable, YINN is tradable, CRON is tradable, CGC is tradable, GOOS is tradable, PBR is tradable, AMRN is tradable, RRC is tradable, AMRS is tradable, CHK is not tradable. And so 1, 2, 3, we got 4. We have 4 stocks out of 12 that are not tradable today from my watch list. And so not too bad. There's still some options. Alright, so how's everybody doing this morning? Let's see. BXX. Good morning, Missouri. Mikey, what's up, man? Ash, good morning. Netron, what's up, brother? Foil, good morning. 40, good morning. Frank, good morning, man. John O. Yeah, I'm looking at GE. It's moving some. I'm also looking at, what was the other one I was looking at? Was it LEDS? Let me see. I was looking at one that it said it. No, it wasn't LEDS. It was. I don't know where it was, man. I saw it. Let me look it up again. Let me just go through these. CLD. No. SN. UPL gapping up some. DSS. I saw one that looked good. MFGP. HZN. GSL. It disappeared now from my scanner. QIW, I don't think that bad. A little bit of a bigger range. Let's see. Let's see if it's tradable. A little bit low volume, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. No, it's not. LX maybe was it, but I think it was an energy stock. Yeah, LX gapping up some. SWN is gapping up some. Maybe it was PXS. Let's see if PXS is tradable yet. No. SWN is. Alright, so we got a few options. We got some, I mean, if you can trade these LMFA, TAHO, PXS, all look okay. CGC, I can trade, get a look at it. It's gapping down with Cron. GOOS is gapping up from 58.58 to 67. So pretty big gap up. PBR, Gonna watch that one. RRC. Gonna watch that one as well. AMRS, AMRN, CHK, YINN. A few other ones. That's what I'm really watching. Good morning, Sultan, Bryce, Chialva. What's up, Ben? Yeah, man. I mean, TLRI dropped. I'm not surprised with that, honestly. I mean, I'm really not. You know, let's look at TLRY. I mean, CGC, Cron are dropping as well. What's up, Harrison? All right, sorry, my wife called me. What's up, TJ? Good morning, man. All right, so we'll see. It's Wednesday. I haven't had a losing day in 5 days. We'll see if I can keep it going today with the 6th day. No pressure though. If I have a losing day, I have a losing day. But yeah, I actually had somebody come in my. I actually had somebody comment yesterday and tell me I'm a terrible trader. And it's like, I get it. He's trying to sell me his like educational package, and you know, he has to tell me I'm a bad trader if he wants me to join his group because I have more followers than he does. But like, come on, man. That's what I told him. I said, don't be desperate. I haven't lost in 5 days. You know, if you go back and look at the last really 3 or 4 months, a large majority of each week I've traded has been a green week. And so he could say whatever he wants, but it's just desperate. He's just probably sees how many followers I have and wants me to promote his group. And so but yeah, look at this big drop on AMRS. This one looks interesting. I'm going to have to look up the news for this one. Big drop down from 590 to 455. It went as low as 380. I think that's an interesting level. What's up, Ben? You must have a Samsung. Cool. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I mean, right, I just try to be honest with people. Alright, so Seadrill's popping up on my scanners here. We'll see what happens with it. Okay. Yeah, so everybody go check out SnapTrade. We can look up the news. You can see I build my watch list with SnapTrade each morning. We actually have Ben here from SnapTrade, and that's what I really like about it, is that I can really build my watch list in an organized way. You can see here, it shows you lots of different data when you add a stock to your watch list. Like, say I want to add a stock to my watch list like TLRY. I can just type it in here, go to add, and it pops up in this watch list, and it shows me all of this data on it as well. You can see TLRY right here. Shows you the volume change percentage, volume, 3-day change percentage, gain over the past days as the technical signal, and a lot of other cool info. And so you can also share this watch list with people, and that's what I do. But it also has a news section, so if I click today's news, it will show me all the relevant news stories in the market, and it even has a watch list section. And so I can just click that, and it shows me the news on my watch list. And so a cool little feature there. It also has scanners, so regardless of what sector, there's the cannabis sector, upcoming earnings. If you like gap ups, they have a gap up scanner, crypto. And so regardless of what kind of sector you're looking to trade, they typically have a scan for it. And so go check it out. We actually have Ben here from SnapTrade. You can also see it shows you these scans on the side, makes it really easy when you're looking at news too. So go check them out. We have Ben here from SnapTrade, so if you have anything you want to see with them, let him know. And you know, they're always interested in hearing what people think about it. Yeah, I like dark themes as well, man. What's up, Raps fan? Good morning, man. But yeah, main watches, I don't know, maybe RRC this morning. But it's starting to gap down some. And so probably going to look at the cannabis stocks. I think they'll probably rebound some today. AMRN is actually starting to retrace its gap down and maybe start running back up here. Man, I sold too soon. Look at this drop for AMRN yesterday. So yeah, it only makes sense that it would possibly bounce some today after being down so much for AMRN. And AMRS is kind of doing the same thing. And so we'll look up the news in a second. What's up, Felix? But yeah, a little bit more expensive stock though, GOOS. Gotta watch this one too. This is Trade Ideas, Peter, right here. Shout out to Trade Ideas. They're cool enough to actually let me stream their scans. And so I can post that link if anybody's interested in checking out Trade Ideas too. But yeah, these are Trade Ideas here. But I'm also using SnapTrade, usually for my watch list building and pre-market. If you're talking about what scans on SnapTrade am I using, I'm typically using the gap up scanners. I use the gap up scanner, the cannabis scanner, and sometimes the high gainer volatile scanner. But yeah, a big drop for the cannabis stocks. We'll look up the news in a second. Wonder what's going on here. Somebody said TLRY had a bad quarter. EQNR popping up. Let's see what SWN here does. Let's look at the daily chart for some of these. It's at 615 now, so it is up here. Kind of broke over that resistance. So it is right here on the daily chart. Maybe have some resistance here for SWN. Right around 614. You know, there's that high right here as well. So gonna watch that, see what happens. VKTX also looks good. This one was gapping up yesterday. Beautiful little fade here and here. And so VKTX actually faded nicely yesterday. What's up, Matt? Yeah, no stress, brother. Later, man. Alright, so AMRN starting to look better. And so LMFA, we'll look up the news. Let's look up the news. First one I'm going to look at is LMFA. Even though I can't trade it, it's still gapping up nicely here. So we'll see what's going on with it. Alright, so LMFA, you can see it's on the top chart here. It regained compliance with NASDAQ listing standards for LMFA. And so that's always a pretty good catalyst when it regains compliance, because a lot of times it drops before that. But LMFA did regain compliance with the NASDAQ listing standards, and so that's why it's up. You can see it's gapping up from 173 to 210. We can also look at TAHO here. That was another one I was watching, although I can't trade it, but I can still go over the news for TAHO. $1.07 or $1.07 billion buyout deal for TAHO here. Pan American Silver Corporation has agreed to buy TAHO in a cash and stock deal valued at $1.07 billion. And so buyout deal for TAHO. We'll see what happens. Another one I'm looking at is these cannabis stocks. I'm just going to look at TLRY because I think that's one of the alpha cannabis stocks. Let's see. See if we can find out what's going on with this one. So yeah, TLRY reported a smaller than expected loss for the quarter and an 85% growth in revenue, but it still fell 5% in pre-market. So interesting to see where these go. I think most of these cannabis stocks are just following it. I could look at CGC as well to see if CGC had anything going on with it because it's gapping down significantly as well. And so let's look at CGC here. Second quarter revenue came in below the analysts' estimates and expectations. So lower than expected revenue for CGC. You can see CGC here dropping a ton in pre-market. And so we'll see what happens with that one as well. Also looking at GOOS. GOOS, somebody asked me what my plan was for this one. Looking at the daily chart, I think it may start to come back down, but who knows. It may have some support at 55s. And so for GOOS, I guess I'm just going to look to see if it fades off the VWAP for a possible short. We'll see. See if it could fill some of this gap is probably what I would look at it for. But like I said, we'll see. With that said, let's look at GOOS. I mean, my price target, it all depends on if it fades and where it fades, but price level would probably be 64s. If it breaks down under that, maybe 63 is what I would be looking at it for. But, I mean, who knows? You never know what these are going to do. This could easily push up. Who knows? But, yeah, let's look at GOS. So it looks like this is up after a good quarter. Quarter one revenue and profit beat the analyst estimates for GOOS. And so it was a good quarter for it. Looking at PBR here, it's gapping up a little bit in pre-market. PBR up to 1420s. There's no audio, man? You can't hear me? Sound check. Can everybody hear me? Test, test. It's showing you should be able to hear me on here. Can you guys not hear me? Alright, two-way trader can hear me. Frank. Alright, so yeah, they can hear me, Netron. Maybe your volume maybe is maybe down, man. What's up, Jason? PBR doesn't really have any new news out on it. WLL gapping up some. Look to see why WLL is gapping up here. Alright, as long as you guys can hear me. Good. Yeah, no stress, Jason. Yeah, man, the cannabis stocks are getting hit, bro. So the WLL CFO is going to present at the Bank of America Merrill Lynch Global Energy Conference. And so I guess that's why that's moving. But that happened on the 9th. And so I think this one's actually just gapping up because it was such a big down day yesterday for this one. So that's probably why it's gapping up. We'll see what happens with it. Also looking at AMRN and AMRS. They're gapping. Actually, this one's gapping up now, which is surprising. I mean, huge range on it thus far, though, after a big drop yesterday. This is when I shorted yesterday. It's probably just rebounding to bounce back after being down so much. So new data was released over the weekend. The drug has been FDA approved in patients. Although the FDA was skeptical of approving it with patients with moderate to high triglyceride levels. They said instead they're going to wait until the results from a long-term cardiovascular outcome. And so we'll see what happens with it. FDA basically said they're not going to approve it for patients with medium to high triglyceride levels, and so that's making people a little skeptical of it yesterday. Now looking at AMRS. Lower quarter three revenue for AMRS, so bad quarter three revenue for AMRS. You want me to look at GE, John? GE looks interesting. It had a nice little VWAP bounce yesterday. All right, so Baker Hughes stake sale. So GE's planned sale of its stake in Baker Hughes gave investors reasons to be happy. So yeah, they put out that they were going to be selling some of their stake in Baker Hughes, and that made investors happy for GE, and so that's why it's gapping up. So interesting here. We'll see what that happens. Okay, good. Good. All right, guys, I'm going to go to the restroom really quick. We got about 8 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. What's up, guys? Yeah, man. My restroom breaks are super consistent, man. Somebody said that the other day, and they're right. All right, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Just gonna take it slow. I've been taking it slow for the last few days, but here's the thing. I'm on a 5-day winning streak, but I don't really want to let that change the way I trade. A lot of the time, what I notice about myself is that when I go on little hot streaks like this, where I'm doing really well, I have pretty high accuracy, I'm taking profits way too early, and I'm missing out on bigger gains just because I'm ready to get another profitable day under my belt, and so I'm missing out on larger gains. A key example of that is AMRN. And so it's just might be a little hole in my game right now that I can acknowledge. Yesterday I shorted this one, sold way too soon, and this one ended up dropping beautifully, kept dropping. And so I think, like I said, yes, I'm on a 5-day win streak, but I'm not going to let that dissuade my trades too much. I actually have to stick to my plan, stick to my reward levels. Having a 6-day win streak would be nice, but I'm not going to let that kind of dissuade my trades, make them different than I normally would. Just going to try to hold to my levels. That's what I ultimately need to do. And if it's a losing day, it was a good streak. I'm happy with a 5-day winning streak. And so we'll see what happens. That's right. Connor. 100%, man. PCG, Lewis. Hold on, brother. Hold on, man. Let me look at it. Yeah, PCG getting hit. I mean, it's down a lot. We'll see what happens. Just gonna look for my setups. Look for my trades. If I don't see them, I don't see them. I'm kind of bummed out I can't say trade CHK. That one kind of looked good, although it's a higher float, smaller range stock, and so I'd have to take bigger sizing with it. But we got about 3 minutes. PCG. Yeah, let's look at the daily. I didn't look at the daily. Let's see what it looks like. I mean, it dropped all the way down to the $25 level, all the way down here, which is a pretty big drop. I'm still definitely more long biased with it just because, I mean, it's down so much already. I'd have to look up, I know oil's kind of getting hit today, but I would have to look up the catalyst for it. But anytime I see a stock drop down this much, I mean, this is almost a 50% drop. And so, anytime I see that, I'm typically long biased with it. I tend to think they're going to rebound some, at least at first, from shorts covering. When I see this, I typically think that shorts may start covering. Yeah, the wildfire. Okay, that makes sense. Hey, appreciate the sub, Calvin. Welcome in. Appreciate it, brother. Oh, man. We got GoPro popping up with the skaters. GoPro never really fades like I like it, though. It's kind of one of those stocks that I'm not going to say I dislike it, but it doesn't follow through with the patterns that I like to trade. And so it's gapping up some, getting a little bit of a volume spike here. We'll see what happens. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that makes sense. BT popping up on the scanners. All right, so we got about a minute left. I'm going to put it on the intraday scans now. Get these scans up. Get ready to check some stuff out. Like I said, gotta be selective. I mean, One of the reasons I think I've been doing so much better in the last week or so, week and a half, is that I've been really selective. I haven't been trading every single day. I don't feel like that's necessary whenever the market's not really that hot. And so one of the reasons I've been doing well is being selective, and I think I just got to keep up with that. If I see a good setup, great. Stick to my rule, which is a 2-trade rule, and just do it that way. But we got about 20 seconds, guys, so good luck. For which one? PAAS? Man, big gap down too. I have to look up what kind of stock it is. Might be just sympathy. Alright, there's the bell, guys. There's the bell. Yeah, let's see if QIWI is actually tradable, though. That's what I want to see. I want to see if it's actually tradable or not. It's not. Not for me, at least. Alright, so we got a drop on AMRN. TLRY dropping some as well. AMRN rebounding some. GOOS. Looking at PCG. Alright, we got PCG actually rebounding some here, which is what I thought would happen. It's bouncing up some. It's a little bit too early to tell, but PCG's bouncing back. It just pushed up about $1 so far. CGC, cannabis stocks pushing up. We got RRC dropping some. I really wish RRC would have held some of those gains. At this point, I'm looking at PBR here. See if PBR can get a drop underneath the VWAP. Need some more volume, though. Volume's still a little low. All right, looking at PBR here. We'll see what happens with it. AMRN, I'm keeping an eye on that one as well. RRC's actually giving up this whole gap. It's kind of looking weird here. Look at RRC. Starting to drop. I mean, if it drops under these levels at 1750s and 1775, could get interesting here. Could possibly fade if it gets up to 1810, but with the 822 risk, which I don't necessarily dislike, but I would have to fade. But the only problem with it is that it has that support here. You know, it has that support here, and so with that, you know, little bit more hesitant in taking that one. Let's see, we got TLRY bouncing back some. We got CGC bouncing back, Cron giving some of it back up. Let's look at, what was it, man? DGAZ? Let's look at DGAZ here. Because I don't necessarily dislike taking a longer-term swing trade. Or not a swing trade, a longer-term day trade with a VWAP fade later on in the day. So that's something I'll keep an eye on, like I mentioned earlier. PBR here. Just needs more volume. PBR is just, it tends to be moving a little slow here. GBR popping up on the scanners. Cannabis stocks are kind of giving it back here. GBR is a crypto stock, if I remember it correctly. Now, like I said, if RRC pulls up here and it gets up to the VWAP level here, it looks interesting. The reason it looks interesting is because I could set a risk from 18 to 18.22, which would be a 20-cent risk or 22-cent risk, from 18 down to 17.65 would be a, what is that, a 35-cent reward. And so not quite 2-to-1, but I wouldn't say it's bad. Better than 1-to-1 for sure. AMRS is also dropping some. GOOS. Yeah, I haven't. GOOS honestly is a little bit too expensive for me. But yeah, it's pushing up huge here. 71.25. Like I said, the only reason I'm hesitant in taking this possible fade on RRC is because it has this big support level here. Not only does it fill the gap right here, but it has that big support level. And so I'm worried it's going to bounce right here at this 17.75 level. I think that's a logical thesis for that one. And I don't want to force it and get too crazy with it if it's not as extended as I want it to be. Let's look at the daily. I mean, I could see it also coming back down. It's got some resistance above it. It's currently at 17.85, so it's about right here. And it could have some resistance at 18. The VWAP would have to drop lower, though, for me to really like it. All right, the VWAP did drop lower here. Now, I don't mind that. Yeah, I'm watching those, Keith. Yeah, I looked at those, man. Wasn't a bad move for RRC. It just never really got up to that $18 level. The risk is getting worse as it drops as well, though. So at this point, like I would have to stick to the 18.20 risk from about maybe 17.98. And so the risk reward wouldn't be as good anymore just because the VWAPs drop some. But I do like the fact that $18 was a big resistance. And so I could effectively maybe set 18.10 as my risk. Yeah, GBR is kind of going crazy here. AMRN. Yeah, I really don't mind AMRN for that VWAP rejection. AMRN's not typically a stock I like to trade. It just, for me, it never really follows through. But it did yesterday, so I guess I could start looking at it. Alright, so like I said, RRC is really the only one I'm kind of looking at. Just because it may have some $18 resistance on the daily chart. We'll see if we can pull back up there. Hey, nice, Don. Nice work, brother. Yeah, here's the fade back down for RRC. It just never really got high like I wanted it to. Oh, NIO. NIO was on my list. I forgot about it. Yeah, NIO may be a little VWAP bounce here. We'll see. I like the risk of 690, 698, 697. We'll see though. RRC faded nicely. It just never touched the VWAP like I would have preferred it to. Yeah, AMRN's testing that low. It rejected nicely off the VWAP. Like if you look at AMRN, this is one of those strategies that we talked about. Difference between a rejection and a fail is rejection is when the VWAP is underneath the stock and then it breaks under it. You can see the rejection here. Right here. Nice little rejection off the VWAP, but like I said, I'm a little bit hesitant to trade AMRN just because historically I haven't done that great with it. Cannabis stock starting to rebound some. At least CGC is. TLRY. Kind of so-so. I don't really mind AMRS here because, like, if you think about it like this, AMRS, if it gets up to the VWAP here, you've effectively got a risk of, if it gets right here, you've got a risk of, I don't know, maybe 440. So a tight risk, maybe 443 with a big reward there. And so I'm looking at AMRS for that. Nice. Nice, Ewerton. Nice job, brother. Good job, man. Yeah, I mean, Connor, I get it. Like, I really get the trade. I get that panic bounce that you're looking for up to the VWAP. I get it. I'm kind of like the opposing side. Like, right where you would get out, I would be jumping in short. And so we'll see, you know. But the only reason I like it is because it's a tight risk, right? You get in at 33s. you could set a risk of 43, 10 cents. I don't mind that risk. Just depends on how it gets up there. If it bounces up there quickly, I like it a little bit more. But if it's stair steps, putting in higher lows as it gets up there, I like it a little bit less. Also, AMRN, I mean, if AMRN gets back up to the VWAP, I don't dislike it. Like at 15, 16, at 16, set a risk of maybe 16, 13 cent risk. I don't mind that. DARE popping up on the scanners. I remember DARE. All right, so AMRS is starting to test. I mean, if it gets up to the 430s, I'll consider it. Maybe up to 442s, 43s for about a 10 cent risk. I know, I watched that as well, John. I love that movie, man. I've seen it so much, though. Like any stock market movie, I've watched over and over and over again. Like my favorite's probably Margin Call. I really like the movie Margin Call. Really interesting movie. Yeah, GBR's kind of been going crazy today. Yeah, I watch Billions, Ismail. I think we talked about it before. Billions is probably my favorite stock market TV show. If you haven't seen Billions, I think it's on HBO. If you haven't seen Billions, it's about a hedge fund. He owns a hedge fund. He owns and operates a hedge fund, and he's like getting into it and like battling with the district attorney of New York. Really cool show. Really cool show. A lot of trading stuff in there. Which one, Netron? I appreciate the sub, Blue. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it. All right, so AMRS is getting more interesting here. Now, risk, I could change my risk to 440 to give myself a little bit tighter risk if it doesn't get quite up there, but I want to wait for my entry here. I want to wait for 430s to hit. If it doesn't hit 430, I'm not going to have FOMO with it. I just want to see it hit 430. That's a big if. The only problem is like I would want to set a stop loss because the squeeze is definitely possible with this, and I don't want to get squeezed out. I don't want to get squeezed higher than I want to exit really with it. And so we'll see what happens. GBR tried to push back up over the VWAP. It looks to be getting rejected. No, not that much, Michael. Listen, man, I gotta protect my account. If I do size up, it's not gonna be 1,000. I don't know if I'm gonna size up today though. I'm only feeling good like when I size up. I'm only gonna like sizing up if the market's hot. And I wouldn't consider this a hot market. I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I'm watching AMRS here. That's probably one of my main watches. We'll see what happens with it. Ismail. I haven't, man. Yeah, I was looking at GBR. It's trying to. It's getting rejected at the VWAP right now. That's a VWAP rejection right there. It's getting rejected not only at the VWAP, but it's getting rejected at the $0.50 as well. And so, like, you see a move like that. I've always said, like, if you think about it, the more setups and strategies that are going on simultaneously, the better your momentum is in that trade, right? And so with GBR right now, you can look, it's not only the VWAP area that's pushing it down, it's the $0.50. The only problem with that is that if it finally does crack, if it actually breaks, it could get a lot of momentum up, like a really quick push. And so, you know, you got to be careful and exit when you need to exit. But bouncing right back up there. I'm not touching GBR. I don't think I could trade it, but even if I could, I probably wouldn't touch it. Putting in, it looks like a little bit of a flag pattern at this point. All right, so AMRS is up to 4032s. I'm going to jump in with 100 shares here, small share size. See if I can get it to work. But yeah, market orders fill me within 1 cent. You know, you can see a 1 cent fill. And so that's what I like it. But risk in this trade is probably up to 40s, 42s, maybe 43s for a 10-cent risk is probably what I'm looking at. Yeah, for sure. I mean, my risk area is 43s probably. My reward level is probably down to 40 or 410. And so we'll see if we get it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. No stress. But I know my entry and exit already. My entry is 430. My exit would be, my stop would be about 43, 44. And my first profit target would be 410. And then I would let the rest test $4. Big rejection back down. That's what I like to see. Like I said, 410 is going to be my first profit target if it can drop that low. Preferably, I'd like to see it break under that 420 level. My average is 430. So my risk is 13 cents. My reward is about 20 cents to 410. That's what I'm looking at. All right, we'll see if we get this move down. No stress in the trade, though. Something we always try to teach people is that if you have a plan and you know your levels, you can just stick to those. And so if it stops me out, it stops me out. It was a good run, you know. But if it drops down and touches my levels, you know, of course I'll be happy. AMRN just getting hit today. Cron rejecting off the VWAP too. Look at Cron getting hammered off that VWAP level. GBR ended up pushing up to 260. RRC ended up fading off the VWAP nicely as well. See, this is the moves that I get bummed out about missing, right? Like, look at RRC here. These are the moves I hate missing. Perfect. Look at this fade right here. Beautiful. It's finding some support here. This is a little concerning with AMRS that it found some support there where it had some previously. Obviously, I'd like to see it break under 425, that $0.25 level, but got to give it some time. Watching the level 2 on the time and sales at this point. We got a big order at 424 for short on AMRS of 10,000 shares. And so watching the time and sales at this point really closely. Look at Cron tank here. All right, we got down to 24s. Like I said, 410 is really where I'm going to look to cover for AMRS. We'll see if it gets there, though. 23s. Gonna get ready to take profits if it drops. Like I said, though, with this 5-day green streak, one thing I have to focus on is letting it work to my levels. You know, I got to let it work to my levels. I can't sell out too soon because I want to have another green day. I just got to let it work, you know. Got some short orders still there. Time and sales is acting a little fishy here. All right, here's a squeeze back up. The bid and ask on Thinkorswim's acting a little funny. All right, now the time and sales looks a little bit better now. Ask is at 25, bids at 24. It's got to break under that 420 support. That's what I want to see it break. Squeeze back up to 29s. $32s. This is where I got to be careful. If it starts to squeeze here, I got to just jump out. But look at the spreads. The spread is weird, man. Look at the ask and the bid on both of these. The ask is at 29, the bid's at 432. Weird. And it's not making sense. My average is 430, but I'm down $1. Something's going on with the level 2 here. But all I can do is hold it to my levels. Time and sales look a little bit better now, or the level 2 looks a little bit better now, but that was weird. The bid was bigger than the ask on both of these, on Thinkorswim and Tefs. Strange. Maybe changing trends, though, now that it did break over the VWAP. Obviously, I want to see it get rejected and fall back underneath the VWAP, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, my hand's over the cover button on this one, Connor. It's not that I feel like the trade's going against me. It's that the time and sales is acting weird. You know, when the bid's bigger than the ask, that's a little weird on both. It's like that on Thinkorswim. It's a little bit better now. Like I said, the ask is at 32, the bid's at 31, but that's strange when the bid gets more expensive than the ask. Yeah, I see it for sure, Connor. You can see the resistance here is what I'm looking at. Looking at RRC, I was kind of bummed out I missed RRC too. This fade right here is pretty. Something I've noticed though about my trading is that if you look back at my trading, the worst days of the week are Wednesdays. That's why somebody asked me if I'm sizing up today. Not on a Wednesday, bro. You know, Wednesdays, I know myself, and I know Wednesdays are usually terrible for me. And so I just got to keep it safe today. All right, we got down to 30s. We'll see if it actually cracks underneath here. It's got to break that 420 resistance. At this point, I would consider taking part off at 420 if it drops that low. It would have to drop that low, though. It's a big if. What's up, Milan? Good morning, man. Short sale restriction, Jason? Is that what you're talking about? But yeah, I don't like that about this Connor. Like you said, man, it put in a higher low right here. That's the only thing. Makes me not like it as much, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, you'll hear people talking, Jason, about SSR, short sale restriction. That means shorts are restricted on the stock. All right, so it dropped down to 30. We'll see if we get that break back down under the VWAP here. 29s. I do like that it kind of confirmed this level here, this 34 level. Kind of a little bit of a double top there. We'll see if it actually follows through, though. Down to 28s. At this point, it's kind of battling the VWAP. Like we talked about yesterday a little bit, the VWAP is actually a trend indicator. And so when you see a stock doing this, it's effectively trying to change trends from a downward trend underneath the VWAP to an upward trend above the VWAP. And so when a stock does that, it's actually trying to change trends. And that's what the VWAP fade is taking advantage of a rejection in the trend change. So like if a stock pushes down a lot and then bounces back up to the VWAP, trying to break back over to a bullish trend and then gets hammered back down, that's a rejection of the trend change. And that's essentially what we take advantage of with the fade, is that rejection of that trend change. CGC had a nice little VWAP rejection here. Like if I pull up CGC, nice little rejection here. Look at this. Beautiful. Yeah, look at it. Look at CGC go. All right, it's down to 26s. To be honest, I'm still not in love with it just because it's putting in higher lows. If it can't break under 420 and at least get down to there, then it's going to put in another higher low, which might make some people bullish and might make it push up some. So we'll see what happens. Going to let it work a little bit, but going to see what happens too. Get some volume coming in here. Green on the time and sales. Let's see what happens. I see some green on the time and sales, but there's a big order at 427. A big red order of 9,000 shares. So we'll see which one wins here. But beautiful rejection off of CGC there. Look at this rejection off the VWAP here. What's up, Todd? What's up, brother? Kron taking a hit too. Yeah, I'm just letting it work, see what happens. All I can do is hold it to my levels. You know, I've had my level set out, know where I'm going to take profits, know where I'm going to stop out, and so all I can really do is hold it to my levels at this point. ACB, I remember that one. Yeah, the other cannabis stocks are getting hit. ACB is a cannabis stock too. They're getting hit today though. All right, we got down to 25s. Want to see it at least touch 420. Because if it touches 420, it's effectively not putting in a higher low anymore. What is going on? All right, there's 24s, 23s. I'm telling you, Abdul, brother, like I've always said, man, the VWAP fade is the single most accurate setup. It's the single most accurate setup that I see all the time in the market. So, like, it's super common, and it happens all the time, man, all the time. And so, no stress, brother. Glad you could learn something from us, man. But seriously, like, you can't. People could say I'm a bad trader and everything like that, but you can't really say anything to the numbers, In the last few months, I've had substantially more green days than red, and it's because I mostly trade the VWAP fade, and it happens so much, man. So glad to see you make some money with it, Abdul. Nice work today, brother. And somebody mentioned it in our Discord yesterday that it doesn't only happen with cheap stocks. Like, it happens with stocks in any price range. Like, you can see CGC VWAP projection here. You can see ACB, which is a $6 stock, VWAP projection. It happens a lot, is the point, I guess. You see RRC. Nice little VWAP projection here too. Really, this one had a few. You can see it here is probably my favorite. Yeah, I'm still holding, man. I mean, look, it cracked under the VWAP, and so it had this little double top here at 430s. And so, yeah, man, I'm just letting it work. There's 22s. It got back down to 420, so it's no longer putting in higher lows. That's what I like about it. If it gets down to 420, I'll probably take half sizing off and just let the rest work. I don't mind taking a little bit here. So I just took half off. Just going to let the rest work. Get a little bit more comfortable in the trade in case it does rebound here. Taking partial at support. It took a little bit too long. And so I'd rather protect it a little bit more and take half off there. So actually, Todd, man, I actually have a different way of trading it. I prefer to see a gap up. Usually, I like trading the VWAP fade around stocks that are gapping up, although they do happen on gapping down stocks, obviously. A good example of one that was gapping up is RRC here, because it filled to this gap. It gapped up and then it faded back down and filled the gap. But they happen on both. They happen on both gap ups and gap downs. But like I said, I tend to prefer that I tend to prefer them on gapping up stocks just because the momentum, in my opinion, is on the downside. Yeah, right. I filled the gap, not gap and go, man. I like gap fill strategies. I just think you see a stock gap up over 10%, and I think something new traders do wrong. Not necessarily wrong. It's all subjective, so don't get me wrong here. But I think something that new traders specifically watch for is they see a stock that's gapped up 10 or 20% and they're naturally bullish. They think the stock's going to go up because it's gapped up so much. When I'm watching it, I see a stock gap up 10%. I'm sitting there thinking, man, this stock's extended. I think it's going to crash back down. And so that's really what I look for, and that's really what I trade. But like I said, like AMRS here, this is a gapping down stock. And so they do work on gapping down stocks as well. But when I see a stock gap down this much, honestly, I'm a little bit more bullish. And this one just set up for the fade, and so I took it. But you can look at PCG is what I kind of expect when I see a stock gap down this much, is a push back up. Just because shorts are going to be covering, making it push back up. People are going to think it's more extended on the upside or downside. All right, we got down to 419. Just going to let this one work now. I've already protected myself in it, and so I can just let the rest work. Ultimate goal with this one is for it to break underneath $4 down here at this low of the day, but that's a big if. But at this point, even if it rebounds, I can get out for break even. XNET. Hey, good to see you, Jason. Hey, man, if you watch the class, man, I'm telling you, like, Mitch and I don't try to act like experts. But we do have a system, and the system works, Like if this trade's profitable, this will be 6 days in a row. No green day or no red days. 6 days in a row, no red days. And so people can say what they want, but they can't really say we're bad traders. And I guess that's like a pet peeve of mine. People try to tell me I'm a bad trader so they can try to sell their course to me. And it's like, come on now, man. XNET. Yeah, this is a nice little fade. Boom. What's up, Ismail? Later, brother. Well, no, I actually had a guy. I said it earlier. I actually had a guy post a comment, and he was like, he pointed out that I was wrong. Like, you hear me in pre-market, and I'll say, yeah, I guess I'm a little bit more bullish with this one. I guess I'm a little bit more bearish with this one. And he took one stock out of me saying that, even though I got most of the rest of the stocks right that day. But he took one stock and he said, see, you were wrong about this. You need to join our classes. You need to join our classes. We'll teach you a lot. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, I'm always open to learn, man. But, I'm not going to promote your classes. Like, I have my little niche. I try to stick with it. And he started telling me how bad of a trader I was. And I just kind of said, look, bro, I think what I said was, don't be desperate. I get it. You're trying to sell your course, but I haven't had a losing day in like 5 days, man. You can't really say I'm a bad trader. Right. 100%, Alex. Honestly, it's all subjective, man. You could see somebody have 5 green days and then say, well, they didn't have 10 green days. Or you could see somebody have 5 green days, but you might not agree with their strategy. And so you might think they're a bad trader. And I really don't have a problem with that. If people think I'm a bad trader, fine. But what I don't like is trying to get me to promote their channel or their course on my YouTube by telling me I'm a bad trader. It's just manipulative. That's the problem I have. It's all subjective. People have different opinions, but right. All right, so AMRS, this is why I chose to take profits here, is because it had all of the support at 420. It's starting to break underneath it. Like I said, it's moving pretty slow. I'm just going to let it work. The time in sales is full of red. And so I'm just going to let it work. Ultimate goal is 4. Maybe if it can break under 4, I'll let it test that area. But I'm just going to let the rest work. Reasonable criticisms or reasonable critics of me can say I use small sizing, and I probably agree with that. I do use small sizing. It's pretty tough for me to move up in sizing. It's a mental thing, and I definitely have to work on it. Kind of what I do is I tell myself, I'm going to start big sizing next week. I don't want to start big sizing now because it's not a good day of the week, as you heard me say about Wednesday earlier. I'm going to start big sizing Monday, and then Monday rolls around and I say, well, the market doesn't look that good right now. I'm just going to wait. And that's usually what happens. And I just have to have the guts to use big sizing. For the most part, AI, for the most part, I mean, I've learned a lot from YouTube. Like, there's a lot of good free content on YouTube. Like I've watched Warrior Trading has some free courses on YouTube. There's a lot of free info, and so I've just used free info. I haven't paid for any classes, just because I think the classes are way too expensive. $2,000 for a course. I mean, I get it, but I'd rather spend 2 months. I think you're gonna learn the most from just trading. I think that's when you get the most experience. Of course, you have to learn how to trade correctly, but just from trading every single day, if you had $2,000 and you use small sizing and trade it every single day, you're gonna learn more than you would paying for a $2,000 course. What's up, Casey? Back? You know it, two-way. Yeah, yeah. Warrior is more of a Scalper. He scalps. He scalps big size, quick trades, scalping in and out. Like, that's usually what he does. And I'm not hating on it. If it works for you. One of the things I always tell people is that no strategy is the only strategy. If you got a trader that's telling you that your strategy is wrong and that the only strategy to do it is this strategy, the only strategy to be profitable doing what we're doing is their get rich quick strategy, then that should be a red flag. Because regardless of what strategy you're using, if you're calculating good risk and reward in every trade you get into, that's going to give you a huge edge over everybody else regardless. And so it doesn't really matter about the strategy. It just matters about the plan. It matters if you're giving yourself a plan, setting risk and reward levels, and following through with that plan. All right, Two-Way, have a good day, brother. Two-Way. Yeah, that's me as well, Keith. But I mean, if he has the buying power to do it and the money to do it, more power to him, man. I'm not gonna hate on Ross. I'm not gonna hate on any of them. Like I'm not one of those insecure YouTubers that gotta hate on people just to feel better about myself. I think I like some of them better than others, obviously, but I never really say names. And some of them I agree with their style and their trading. Some of them I don't. But again, it kind of goes back to I think it's bizarre that none of them really teach. They teach risk management, but none of them really teach you how to calculate risk and reward in your trades. They'll teach you strategies, but most of the time you can learn those strategies for free on YouTube already. And so that's what we do in our classes, and we try to just be the anti-guru, Like, you're not going to find any other person on YouTube selling courses that claims not to be, that states they're not an expert, they're not a guru, they're all going to claim to know everything about everything, and that's just not true. As traders, we're constantly learning and evolving regardless of our experience level, and it's just like Mitch said, like Mitch and I say, like, our whole thing is risk and reward. If you calculate risk and reward in each trade you get into, you're going to have a substantial edge on most other traders. If you give yourself more reward than your risk and then hold to those levels, you're going to have an edge on most traders. And so it only makes sense to find your strategy, build your strategy, and plan your strategy around risk and reward levels. And if it's a high accuracy setup and you're giving yourself 2-to-1 or better reward to risk in every single trade, you can let probabilities play out. And that's kind of what we do. All right, so AMRS has just been kind of slowly tanking down for like 20 minutes now. I'm just going to let it work. I mean, I can get out for break even. Whoa. Oh my goodness. I am out right now. Whoa. Oh, that scared me, guys, honestly. Look at that squeeze. Wow. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Look at that squeeze, man. That thing literally scared me. That squeeze happened so quick. I saw the level 2. That's what scared me. Maybe news came out on that one. I don't know. But, man, that's why you take profits when you should. Sheesh. That's why I'm glad I took profits, but damn. But I mean, that's why I took profits when I should have. I took profits at the right spot, and so I got out for $1.50 loss, and so it ain't the end of the world. But man, crazy squeeze. I know, man. You see that, Connor? Honestly, it scared me. It legitimately like scared me, just because I looked at the level 2 and I all of a sudden saw 440s flashing, and I said what? And then I looked at it, and then boom, squeeze, exit. Luckily, I got out at I must have gotten out at like 4:30, 4:35. But man, that's the worst case scenario. Glad I managed it well. Got out for $1.50 loss. I was happy too, man. I thought I was working out. I was about to have 6 green days in a row, but it is what it is. I protected myself in it. And that's the beauty of it. If you take profits at the right spot, if it does this, I can get out for break even, basically, a little bit less. A and Y. Yeah, that was a little sketch for sure, man. That squeeze on AMRS, which is crazy, crazy. I'm just glad I got filled at the right spot. Like, even during the squeeze with a market order, it filled me at the right spot. And so that's what I'm happy about, because it could have been... I mean, I wouldn't have been down much. I would have been like down like $10 or $15 if I sold it here, but I'm just glad the squeeze, I got filled at the right spot. Crazy move there, though. Something must have came out. I think news must have came out. Let me look it up. Let me know if you know what happened with it. It could have been a squeeze, I guess, because prior to that, it had like 15 drops. It had like 15 minutes of just dropping. I'm not seeing anything. Let me check Thinkorswim. Yeah, Connor. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, it scared me too, dude. Yeah, I mean, Joseph, you said AMRN. AMRN's actually doing a little bit different. It might be fading off the VWAP at this point for AMRN. But I was actually in AMRS, and so it was a little bit different. Cass, I'll send you a video, man. Hold on, let me look up. I'm trying to see what happened with AMRS. That's kind of like the worst case scenario, you know, and it doesn't happen often, but man, that squeeze was scary, scary. Let's see. Cass, I got a video for you to watch, brother. Here, I can actually watch it on the stream, man. So, why did it log me out? Weird. But yeah, here, we can watch it on the screen. So this is actually a video I made. Let me see. Let me try to fix this so you can watch the video. But this is the video on the VWAP fade, guys. Okay, so this is the first. Turn the volume down a little bit. To be honest, I may have to do another one of these because this isn't the perfect example of it. I don't know if it got quite high enough. I think my Alright, so that's the VWAP fade. Maybe not the best example of it, honestly, because I prefer to see it tap the VWAP a little bit better, so I may have to redo that. You can tell my strategy has changed a little bit since making that video, but that's the basic premise of it. At this point, I'm looking at ACB here. I don't know if I'm going to get in anything else. I usually have a 2-trade rule, but ACB looks to be possibly fading off the VWAP. But honestly, I'm a little bit nervous after that squeeze, man. Like Connor and me are sitting here probably a little shaken from that squeeze. And luckily, I took profits at that 420 level like I wanted to. But man, that was a scary, scary squeeze. All right, so I can show you. We can just go over an example here. Let me pull up my chart a little bit more. All right, so let's try to find an example of one. I know there's a lot of yesterday, so let's see yesterday. Let me look it up. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, so here's one. So with the VWAP fade, what we do is we look for a big downward push. You can see this big downward move here. This is a longer term VWAP fade. Usually I kind of attack the open right here. So this could be even a fade as well. So we can just go over the first one right here. All right, so you can see a big downward move at the open. A big downward move here, right? It forms this bottom right here. And that's typically where I'm going to set my reward target for getting in short, right? And then I look for the move back up to the VWAP like this. And I get in going short, giving myself a tight risk. So for instance, I could use this area here as my risk, right? Why this area is my risk? Because it confirms it here, 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 and here. And then probably if you keep going back, you can see it confirmed it here as well. So I use pre-market to kind of determine it. And so I enter the stock here, right around the VWAP, let's say 1335. And I set a tight risk from 35 up to 60 right here. And so from 35 to 60 is 25 cents, right? So a 25-cent risk. And then I set this previous low area right here as my reward. So it would be right here. And so from 35 down to 1260. And so my risk in that trade is 75, or my risk is 25 cents and my reward is 75 cents. And so my risk is 3 times smaller than my reward. My reward is much bigger. And so I'm only risking this much to potentially gain this much if I hold it to my levels. And that's the VWAP fade. right? And it's essentially taking advantage of a rejection of the trend change, right? You see a downward trend here when it's underneath the VWAP. This is a bearish trend. It's underneath the VWAP. The VWAP is a trend indicator. And so when it pushes back up and tries to break over to turn into a bullish trend, it gets rejected, fades back down off the VWAP. And that's the VWAP fade. Hope it made sense. Right, 100%. Usually when we gap down, a lot of times it goes up. But yeah, a few other VWAP fades people mentioned today in the market. You can see XNET here. Faded off the VWAP, pushed back down really nicely. Tight risk of maybe 590. So from 575 to 590, what is that, 15 cents? And then from 575 down to 550, 25 cents. So almost 2 to 1. Let's see if we find any other fades today. It's a very common setup. You see it a lot. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to trade anymore today. We'll see. I mean, here's the thing. I had 5 green days in a row. Today's my first red day in over a week. And so I'm happy that if it is a red day today, which it probably will be, that it's a $1.50 red day, you know. AMRN, interesting level here. I don't generally like trading AMRN. I traded it yesterday for this fade yesterday. I actually got in this one right here. Beautiful fade. You can see. Bearish trend. Pull back to the VWAP. Rejection back down. So I actually traded that one yesterday. But I don't really like trading AMRN just because it's one of those stocks that I've never had the best results with. Yeah, I mean, cast, there is an opposite of the VWAP fade. It's called the VWAP bounce. Dare I say the accuracy might not be as high as the VWAP fade, but let's see if we can find an example. The example I used a few days ago was on NIO. Let me see. So it's kind of like the opposite of a fade, right? You see NIO here. Bullish trend, so it's pushing up instead of down. Pull back to the VWAP, and then a breakout. And that's kind of the same thing. You trade it just like the VWAP fade, just upside down, just opposite. So take partials at the previous high of the day, let the rest work to the next support and resistance levels. With AMRN, it's just tricky. The reason I don't like it as much is because with a fade, I like to see a move like this, like XNET, like a quick move back to the VWAP. Whenever it stair steps like this, putting in higher lows like this, like you can see what AMRN is doing, I don't like it as much. You can see like the little stair step, putting in higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. That's the reason I don't like it as much for AMRN. When I see a fade, I want to see a quick bounce to the VWAP and then a quick push back down. You know, whenever it stair steps, it's bullish. And so, like I said, AMRN yesterday was a good example of it. You could see on this pullback, it didn't really stair step. On this pullback to the VWAP, it just went straight up and then faded right back down. If it stair steps back up there, it's kind of a bullish move, and so that makes me a little bit more hesitant with it. All right, Trevor. Listen, man, you got to calm down a little bit, bro. You know? Everybody trades differently. One thing I always say is that no setup or pattern is the only way to trade. You know, no strategy is the only way to do it. Because if you can make it work, you can make it work. If you're making money, I can't really say anything against you, you know? But I don't like that kind of supremacy where my way is the only way of doing it, and if anybody's doing it any other way, they're wrong. I think that's a little naive, you know? But hey, like, do what you do, man. Like, I'm not hating on anybody. But like I said, I just think it's a little naive to claim that your way of doing it is the only way. If you're not doing it my way, you're wrong. And like I said, that's just a little naive. But yeah, probably going to close it down. $1.50 loss today. No stress. It's Wednesdays. Like I always say, Wednesdays are kind of my kryptonite. And so $1.50 loss, I'll take it, honestly. That's not too bad. You know, last 6 days, 5 winning days, 1 red day, which is $1.50 loss. So definitely take that. But yeah, guys, if anybody's interested in signing up to TradeNet, somebody asked me the broker I use. I use TradeNet. I'll post a link. If anybody's interested in signing up, my link will get you 10% off, and there's the link right there. So go check it out. Let me know if you have any questions about it. Also, shout out to Trade Ideas for allowing me to stream their scans. A really cool company letting me stream their scanners every day. Really awesome customizable scans. And so if you're interested in taking advantage of these type of scans I have here, you can go through my link, and I'll post that as well. Here's the link. You can go check them out. But yeah, not a bad day, man. You know, not a bad day. $1.50 loss. I took profits, but man, that AMRS squeeze was iffy. It's kind of like the worst case scenario. Connor even said he was shaking. I was shaking too. If you heard my voice after it happened, I think my voice cracked a little bit. It made me nervous, you know. It was surprising. I mean, not Trevor. I mean, listen, my niche in trading is usually to trade the first hour and a half, 2 hours of trading. Anything after that, I'll start forcing trades, and I won't do as well. And so I'm more of a short-term day trader. I typically only like to trade the first hour and a half. After that, my accuracy goes down substantially, and so I just try to stick with the first hour and a half, brother. Hey, appreciate Fetty. No, I haven't, Mr. Bob. I've heard they do pay out. I know Matt Diamond, he's a YouTuber, a trader YouTuber, posted a video about cashing out. And I know a lot of people, other people said that they pay out. I use too small of sizing to really make enough money to ever cash out at this point. And I'll get up to bigger sizing one day. ACB. Did it fade? It did. Yeah. It did fade. I mean, it only faded about 10 cents at this point, but fade's a fade, I guess. But yeah, I went over it the other day. There's a lot of drama with TradeNet at this point, but if they pay out, they pay out. That's all I really care about. All overseas brokers do the same thing. You know, all overseas brokers take the opposing side of your trade. You know, SureTrader does. Stock Trade, who isn't even an overseas broker, they're a peer-to-peer broker. They take the other side of your trade. That SureTrader has so many shorts because they take the other side of your trade. And so when you make money on SureTrader, they lose money a lot of the time. And so the point in all of it is that they all do it. You know, that's overseas brokers. You know, if they pay out, they pay out. That's all I really care about. Some are cheaper than others too. Like TradeNet has, TAFs and TradeNet has, you know, really cheap commissions relative to all the other brokers and a cheap platform. Like for instance, SureTrader will charge you $150 a month for their platform. You know, $16, $17 per trade, regardless of the sizing. And TAFs and TradeNet will let me trade 100 to 200 shares for $3 or $4 a round trip. And so for that reason, I stick with TradeNet. And if they pay out, they pay out. That's all I really care about. We'll see if I can bring my account up there to where I can test a withdrawal. But that's all I really care about. Days. Did you email me, brother? Yeah. Tonight is our last free class. Tonight is our last free class, and so if you're interested in taking advantage of the last free class we have, email me at beginnertrading@gmail.com. The class starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or around then, if you emailed me, I'll send you an email with a link to join the live class. But even if you can't make the live class, like I always record each one and then send the replays out. And so, you know, if you want to take advantage of it that way. Nice, Jason. Hey, we look forward to seeing you, man. And so, yeah, man, I mean, like I always say, like, we're like the anti-guru. We're not trying to be gurus. We're the only people that aren't claiming to be experts here. And, you know, it's $30 a month. You know, we're not trying to go crazy here, but that $30 a month gets you 20 live classes in our backlog of all of our old classes, which at this point is over 26. I think it's 27 right now. And so, like I said, we're not experts, we're not gurus, we're not pretending to be experts or gurus, but we have a system, and the system works, and you can watch us trade live. We're the only people trading live every single day. You know, other people might stream, take some losses, stop streaming, and then all of a sudden go back to winning. You know, that should be a red flag. We stream every single day, every market day, except for very rare instances when we can't make it. And so check us out, guys. If you're interested, you can email me at beginnertrading@gmail.com. And you can join our free class tonight, as well as get the last 2 nights' classes sent to you. Yeah, Cass. Yeah, man. The last 3 days, we've been doing a free trial, like a free few days of our classes, man. You don't have to sign up or anything. Just email me, and I'll send you the first 2 classes. And you can join our class tonight at 7 Eastern Time, 7 p.m. tonight Eastern Time. I appreciate it, Dex. Yeah, man. I mean, we just try to teach people like the system we have, and it revolves around calculating risk reward in each trade, forming a plan. Because when you form a plan using risk and reward levels, the trade's going to be a lot less crazy for you. You're going to have a little bit better emotional stability in that trade because you have a plan. It's stable. You know where you're going to enter. You know where you're going to exit. And like we teach our strategies as well, but it mostly revolves around building that plan because that plan will calm you down in the trade. I think a lot of traders get addicted to the chaos of just kind of blindly jumping in a trade because it looks pretty. But we try to kind of curb that a little bit. That's not how you want to be. You know, you want to have a plan with each trade you get into, and you want to stick to that plan like glue, you know. Appreciate it, Cass. But yeah, like I said, you want to be part of the free trial that we have going on. You don't have to sign up or anything. Go to Um, no, not day trade cash. If you have less than 25,000. I don't think it lets people post pics here, man. It's not that I don't want you to. I just don't think it lets you. What do you mean, Cass? No, I have it, Dex. Don't know who that is. Appreciate the subs, Ryan and Mr. Bob. Appreciate that, brother. Cass, so the way it works with U.S. regulated brokers, right? With U.S. regulated brokers, you're gonna have the PDT rule, which is the pattern day trading rule, and basically that rule states that you can only day trade 3 times per revolving week if you have less than 25,000 in your account. And so if you have less than 25,000 in your account, you can only day trade 3 times a week. They limit you. Unless you use an overseas broker like I'm using, you know. But if you have over 25K in your account, they allow you to day trade. 25,000 in equity in your account, they allow you to day trade. And so that's with all U.S. brokers. Okay, yeah. If you send me the email for the class, AL and Cass, I'll send you the last 2 nights' classes. And like I said, class starts tonight at 7 Eastern time. Yeah, man, I hate the 3-day stuff too. That's why I don't mind using overseas brokers. Like I said, I use TEFs and TradeNet just because I want to day trade. You know, I do the stream. I day trade every single day, you know. And so that rule would make it so I only get to trade a few times, and I don't want that. I want to be able to day trade, you know. Yeah, I've heard CMA Group is actually decent as well, Jose. I've never used them, though. I mean, Cass, it all depends on what you consider a scammer. They all do it, you know. Like overseas brokers, they're almost always gonna do it, you know. Like SureTrader, I'm not saying they're scams. I'm just saying most brokers are going to take advantage of the fact that 90% of traders fail. SureTrader does. SureTrader has way more shorts because they take the other side of your trade. Tefs does, the broker I'm using, Tefs and TradeNet, they do as well. Ustock Trade does, and even the brokers that you're using now, like that's what brokers do, especially overseas brokers. And so the point is that one of them's not a. I guess the point is that if you claim one of them's a scam, you got to point out the other ones too, because they're all doing the same thing. You know, they're all taking the other side of your trade. And honestly, I'm not that upset with them about it because think about it. If you have a 90% chance of making money, you're going to take that bet every time, and it only makes sense to. And so I probably talked about it too much in the last few days, but the point behind all of it is that they all do it. You know, they all take the other side of your trade. You know, yeah, it depends on your definition of a scam. You know, if a scam to me is if they wouldn't pay out, and if they pay out, they pay out. That's all I care about. What should be the least amount of money to start day trading, Azam? It's all up to you, man. I mean, it depends on what kind of sizing you're using. You know, just know this: the less you start out with, the greater your chance of failure is. And so, it's all what you are comfortable enough with losing. You know, if you're buying 100 shares of a stock, you know, and not going over that, you know, a $500 account isn't that bad. Just you gotta calm yourself down and not jump in with too large of sizing if your account's small. I think that's what new traders do wrong, is that they jump in with thousands and thousands of shares as green new traders, and what happens is they lose their entire account because they see all these other traders using huge sizing and they want to be like them. But the problem is that they don't know enough about trading to be like them. And so they just end up destroying their accounts. And so it only makes sense as a new trader to use small sizing. Use small sizing. If you can make $10 a day with small sizing, you can make 100 or 1,000. You just have to scale up. But the point remains is that, you as a new trader, in my opinion, you want to try to get as much market experience as possible. And the reason 90% of traders fail is because they use too big of sizing. They may trade for a week or two, lose their account, and then give up. They say it's rigged or whatever you want to say. But the traders that take it slow, use small sizing, those are the traders that stick around. That's the 10%, because they're actually taking it slow enough to get enough market experience to build their niche, find strategies they like, implement plans behind those strategies, and then transitioning to being successful. But if you just jump in using big sizing, your account's going to be gone. You're not going to gain that necessary market experience that you need. And so if I could give any advice to a new trader, it's just to take it slow. You don't need to buy 1,000 shares. You don't need to buy 500 shares. If you can get away with it with commissions, with cheap commissions, you can buy 100 shares. You can buy 50 shares. Hell, you could buy 1 share, and as long as you're making money, you can build up your consistency that way. Right. I mean, that's what you want to do, man. It's like I said, man. Yeah, good way to put it. AL. It's like hustling, man. Take it slow. you know. But yeah, just take it slow, man. That's the big thing. You don't have to be like all these big shot traders. Your goal as a trader isn't how much. Your goal as a new trader is never how much money you're gonna make. Your goal should never be to make money as a new trader. Your goal should be to be consistent as a new trader. Even if you're losing money on commissions, your goal is to be consistent, because that's going to give you the most time in the market to really learn. If you never take your foot off the gas and just go too crazy, your account's going to be gone. And like I said, you're just going to say, trading's rigged. I give up. I mean, that's pretty cheap, Jose. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, General Electric just ended up tanking here. Yeah, no stresses, Am. Yeah, to boil it down, I've used most brokers. I haven't used E-Trade, but I have used Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade, and actually traded on them. Their commissions are about $14 a trade, about 14 bucks. A round trip is what I mean. About $6.99 a trade, I think, for Thinkorswim. About $14 for a round trip on Thinkorswim. Pros of Thinkorswim are their platform, great charts, love their charts. Cons are PDT rule. You have to have over 25K. You have to request approval for a margin account to be able to short. I've used SureTrader. Pros are their platform. I love the DOS platform. No PDT rule, which is a benefit if you have less than 25,000. Cons of SureTrader: high commissions, high platform fees, deposit fees. It's an overseas broker. I've used UStockTrade. UStockTrade, pros of UStockTrade, probably the biggest pro is $1 commissions, quick deposits, easy withdrawals for UStockTrade, no PDT rule. Cons of UStockTrade are bad fills. A lot of stocks aren't tradable. No shorting, no leverage, no buying power, and their platform is very, very minimalistic. I just use Thinkorswim for charts next to UStockTrade when I use them. I've used Robinhood. Robinhood problems are the fills, not great fills. Free commissions. There is the PDT rule on Robinhood, and their platform's gotten a little bit better, but still a minimalist platform. I've used Webull, good platform for a smartphone app. Free commissions. You can trade in pre-market and after hours. You still have to follow the PDT rule, and they have the T2 rule, so you have to wait for your transactions to settle with Webull. And then TradeNet, I use TAFs and TradeNet. Cons, overseas broker. A A lot of the cheaper penny stocks are not tradable on TEFs and TradeNet. Pros, cheap commissions, 0.0075 cents a share. So if I'm using less than 200 shares, my full round trip commission is $3. No PDT rule, decent platform. Another con is a profit split. There is a profit split on leverage or on any profit you make. And so, pro of TradeNet is there's lots of shorts. Anything I can trade on TradeNet, I can short. And so, I mean, that's kind of my opinion on all the different brokers. They all have their uses, Yeah, like I said, man, if anybody's interested in signing up to TradeNet, I mean, you could go through my link. There's been a lot of drama about them lately, but I mean, I'm not going to say if they're great or bad, but if you're going to go through them, you can get 10% off going through my link, and I can post that here, or you can check out to them, reach out to them. I've heard TradeNet does pay people. Like I said, Matt Diamond on YouTube has a video about how he withdrew his money from TradeNet. And so regardless of what you want to say about them, if they pay out, they pay out. That's all I care about. Yeah, it's a necessary evil, Dex. That's exactly right. Like, all overseas brokers are a necessary evil. You might not agree with them. You might think they're shady, and they might be. But if they pay out, they pay out. And certain ones have cheaper commissions than others. Yeah, you should be able to do that, Cass. You should be able to in Canada. They're not based in the U.S. They're based overseas. And so I think you should. Nice, Cass. Yeah, man, I'm from Louisiana, but my father-in-law, or my stepdad is from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And so I've lived in Canada a decent amount of time as well. I love Canada. Really pretty. Super nice people. Exactly, Joseph. They wouldn't have lasted this long. If they didn't pay out, they wouldn't have lasted this long. And like I said, it's really easy to attack an overseas broker. But if you're going to attack one, you can't ignore all the shady stuff going on in the broker you're using and posting affiliate links from. And that's why, I post affiliate links. It's one of the ways we keep the stream free. But I'm honest with people about all of it, I'll tell you the pros and cons. I'm not just going to, I'm not one of those people that just constantly talk about how great they are. I'm going to tell you the truth behind it. And is it worth it for me still? Is it a deal breaker? No, I still use them. It's TradeNet. Here, I think I posted the link, Cass. Here. There's the link. You can go through that link and reach out to them if you need to, brother. But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close it down for today. Not seeing too much else I like. It's past 11 a.m. market time, so I'm just going to sit out. Why oil is tanking? Will it rebound soon? I don't know. Probably something going on with the news, man. What's up, Don? What's up, man? I see you, Don. I see you in here, brother. What's an oil stock? Man, I saw one today. It was on my scanner. Let me see. SWN. Yeah. Yeah, that Cajun accent will get you, man. I mean, that Cajun accent. Some people think I'm from the east side. Like, they think I'm from Boston. I guess I have that kind of Boston sounding accent, but no, it's actually a little bit of a Cajun accent, I don't know. I'm not seeing much of them, guys. Yeah. My sister actually thinks I sound like a Texan now since I've been living here for about 10 years. My sister thinks I sound like a Texan. I don't, though. I think my accent's a little bit different than a Texan accent, One thing you'll hear me say a lot is like that's something Louisiana people do. I'm not gonna get super Cajun and be like, I'm gonna go do that over there, Shah. You know. But I have a little bit of a Cajun exit. When I go up to Canada, though, they do think I'm from Texas, which I understand too. All right, guys. I'll close it down now. Good luck for the rest of the day. I'll see you all later, and good luck. Be careful in the market, and have a good day. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, same time as always, guys. Later, guys.